I mean, if you're going to have Bitcoin, you have to hold it safely. You don't want to have it on a hot wallet or on one of these exchanges that could potentially be compromised. So normally I start with the person's origin story and backstory first, but I'm going to flip this around and do the format kind of backwards because I know that I have a lot of people who are newcomers watching this show and they don't even necessarily know what cold storage is or how to best keep their Bitcoin safe. So let's start there. What is a cold storage wallet?
So, essentially, we're trying to defend bits, right? Like private keys, and Bitcoin is protected by a big secret, which is often your 1224 words, right? And anybody who's been in the industry of security, computer security for many years, um, understands that one of the best ways to keep bits secure is by not having them connected to the internet, right? And not have them connected to anything that is connected to the internet. Because even if you have a very secure device, right, there's still potential for bugs and nothing's infallible, right? So by just not having it connected to the internet, you already remove the capacity of 90% of the attackers to get a hold of it because they're not in your house, right? They're out in some like in some Balkan country somewhere, trying to get in, and they just can't because it's just not available to them.
So, why would someone want to purchase a hardware wallet and actually take that responsibility on as opposed to trusting what is essentially the equivalent of a commercial bank?
So, you know, Bitcoin has two upsides, right? If you want to oversimplify it, one is defense against debasement. So if the government inflates the money supply, you're not exposed to that as a Bitcoiner, right? Now, if you have Bitcoin in an exchange, you do have access to the debasement defense because now you own an asset, right, that doesn't get debased. Now, here's the thing: the exchange is third party risk, right? So they could take the Bitcoin from you. You don't actually own the Bitcoin, you own a claim to a Bitcoin on an exchange. Now, the second and one of the most important aspects of Bitcoin is the fact that you can take ownership, take custody of that asset so that you enjoy both protection against debasement and uncensorable or unconfiscatable protection as well, right? So nobody can take that Bitcoin from you, and now nobody can debase you. So you really want to take advantage of both aspects of Bitcoin.
Now, a lot of people think that when you're putting your Bitcoin on a cold storage wallet, that it's sort of like plugging in a hard drive and moving a file from your computer or from, the server of a exchange and placing it on your hard drive. But that's not how this really works, right? So can you kind of explain in a way that a 5-year-old or my grandma could understand how it actually works when you take self-custody? What's happening to the Bitcoin?
So think about Bitcoin as a big ledger, right? So a big spreadsheet of who owns what, right? Nobody actually has Bitcoin. You just have a claim to the Bitcoin, the blockchain. And then when you want to spend Bitcoin, all you're doing is signing, kind of like signing a check. You're just signing and saying, hey, this coin is mine. And now I'm assigning ownership to this other person. So it's very important to keep the secret that produces that signature very safe. Because if somebody takes access to that secret, they could sign all your coins to themselves.
So what is a seed phrase?
So Bitcoin uses these ginormous numbers to keep your secret safe, right? Your secret is essentially a ginormous number, right? Very, very big.
Too
It's
big
like
for our
bigger than
brains
all
to
the grains
comprehend.
of
Yeah.
sand on Earth. Okay, so there was this very clever idea, which is why don't we produce the secret using words that are easy for people to remember, right? So we have this thing called BIP39, and it's determined. It's a mnemonic. It's a mnemonic. Mnemonic just means humans can sort of remember with words. Oversimplify again,
Mhm.
um, and essentially we use these 12 words as the way to generate secrets. to generate these big numbers. So the basic math on this is very simple. So essentially, you're just multiplying. Say you have a very big number of words you can pick from, right? So we have about over 2,000 words we can pick from for this. And you're just multiplying the chance of the next word being one of 2,000. So essentially 1 of 2,000, 1 of 2,000 times 2,000, 1 of 2,000 times 2,000, 2,000, right? So the number becomes really, really big fast, and it gets us to 128 bits with 12 words, or 256 bits with 24 words.
And obviously 24 words, that's the more secure, right? I mean, you have the choice when you sign up and you have a hardware wallet, you can choose the 12 or 24, but most people recommend to have the 24, right? And then you write it down on a piece of paper, or what do you do with it?
So essentially, if you're thinking very, very, very long-term storage, right? Like you want to leave it to your heirs, I highly recommend using 24 words. 12 words is very secure. It's fine. But, it's like we start getting to math paranoia. That's why we suggest 24 words. And now you have this 24 words. Like you write them down on paper first. Okay. We always ship a little piece of paper that has the 24 slots for words in order. The order matters.
Yes.
And then paper burns, right? So people came up with this very clever thing, which is you essentially stamp it in metal. Very easy to do. It seems silly, but it's like super. You're getting like 1,000x safety with that, right? So essentially, you get the seed plate, little metal plates, right? And you just stamp the first 4 letters of each word, which is all we need. I won't get into details why, but only the first 4 letters. And now you have a device that protects your wealth against house fires, for example, and or floods or anything like that. And I mean, the equivalent to that would be to have, say, for example, you want to hold, $100,000, $1 million worth of gold in your house, right? You would need a lot of guys with guns. You would need a lifting, like forklift or something, because it's very heavy. You need massive safes, right? It gets very tricky. Now with Bitcoin, you can hold $1 billion in a little plate that has 12 words in it.
Yeah.
And you can, like, I don't know, cement in your walls, like do something that is a little bit more clever with it.
Yeah.
And you're super protected.
Or simply memorize it. Can you just clarify again, how are those words generated?
So there's a few ways we can do this, right? You can do it so you let the hardware device, right? So say in our case, Code Card generate for you, right? It does the math, generates words, and just tell you, hey, write these down. And then this is specific to Code Card. The other wallets, most of them don't support anything like this, but you can essentially mix dice rolls with the Code Card generation, so that even if Code Card goes rogue, we can't cheat, right? Because you're mixing in your entropy as well. And there is a third way for the ultra paranoid, which is you can throw in 99 dice rolls and generate your own entropy that then gives you the words.
Okay, that might be a little too over my head, but
Yeah.
But you brought up a good point that someone might wonder. Okay, so you have a device, whatever brand it is, it gives you this seed phrase. How does someone know that the company that makes the wallet not have access to the seed phrase?
Yes. So that's why we go back to that part where, or the math that the device is doing to generate the seeds can be provable, right? So that means that maybe you, as an average user, is not going to check the source code, is not going to throw 99 dices, right? None of the stuff. But the people who are paranoid, who are programmers, who can do this stuff, they go and they check, right? Our source code is checked by all these people. And then, because the source code is signed deterministically, it's complicated stuff, but essentially the source code is signed, right? They can come to the same conclusion compiling the code themselves. So you're essentially leveraging, right, this open code that other people who have the capability to verify, but because it's signed, you also benefit from that. So you don't have to check it yourself. Ideally, you do, but you don't have to.
But how does someone know? I mean, they go into it because now you can buy these on Target, on Walmart, Amazon, and you get one in the mail and you turn it on, you connect it to your computer. How do you know that when it generates that seed phrase that you're the only person that has access to it and it's safe and cannot be hacked and cannot be basically used as if they are you?
That's a great question. This is the reason why I always recommend people buying directly from the manufacturers,
Hmm.
right? This is just too important. I know it's nice to have Amazon same day shipping. I know it's nice to just walk into a Target, but you're holding your life savings here. you know, buy directly from the manufacturer. Wait a little longer to get it. You know, you do the checking of the signatures. You do some of these things. For example, we ship in a secure bag, right? Like kind of like airport when you buy alcohol at the airport, they put in this bag that's tamper proof exactly.
Yeah.
So get it directly from the manufacturer. It's worth waiting a little more than taking that risk.